And now, it's that time of the week once again. Welcome to the Departure Lounge podcast with your hosts, Tom Whittle and Steve Wooldridge. Your ticket to the home of aviation podcasts. Sit back, relax, and enjoy the flight.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to episode number 48. We are getting ever so close now to episode 50. Episode 48 of the Departure Lounge podcast here on the Departure Lounge YouTube channel, where we are hosting the weekly aviation podcast, talking about everything to do with aviation whilst bringing on guests to talk about them, and also to entertain you for the next 90 minutes or so. I am Tom Whittle, and joining me this evening is the wonderful co-host. I'm in the wrong section. There we go. It is, of course, Steve Wooldridge. Steve, very good evening to you. How are you?
Yeah, well, after last week's show, hey, good looking. What's cooking? Yeah, no.
There's a special reason for that, but we'll get to that shortly. How have you been this week so far?
Yeah, decent. Went and watched my football team lose 6-0 on Saturday, so that was a highlight. And I've had to so far work a full week this week, so absolutely gutted. I'm not used to it, but
no,
I'm definitely having Monday off next week, so normal service and that. And hello everyone at home, and hope we're looking forward to another good show here tonight.
You poor old thing.
Yeah, right.
Wonderful. We'll see you back shortly. Also joining us from his, I want to say sofa, maybe, is, of course, Ian Hartley, the contributor to the show. Ian, good evening to you. How are you?
I'm really, really good. Yeah, Tom, I'm doing it casual this week. I'm not sat at my table this week.
Nope.
I thought I'd just keep it cash this week. So just
slouch it up a bit. Very nice.
Slouch it up a bit. Yeah, I'm sat on my chair with my airplane shelf just above me. That's where I'm normally sat there. So yeah, I'm just keeping it. Keeping it cash this week. Yeah, why not?
Keeping it real.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Love
good in the hood.
We love it. We'll bring back everybody. I'll say everybody. We'll bring back Steve. Put everybody in the right positions. There we go. Joe is running a little late, so Joe will be with us at some point this evening. So yeah, don't worry too much. He will be here. Right, let's jump into some housekeeping. That's the word. Jump into some housekeeping before we start with tonight's show. So you can find us on social media. We are in the descriptions below. You can find us on Instagram, Discord, Twitter, Facebook, and of course Twitch, if you so wish to. Keep up to date with pretty much anything that we're doing, or join our gaming streams every Friday and Saturday. We also have a shop, which you can find in the description below, which I believe now works after last week. And we have also extended the opportunity to buy the Jet Lingus limited edition t-shirt, which plenty of people have bought so far. So thank you to those who have. So yes, we've extended it for maybe another couple of weeks so people can get some orders in if they fancy it. So you can find that in the description below. If you wish to join us, we have a Facebook chat where you can talk to us not just on the show, but you can also talk to us on Facebook. If you wish to be a part of that group, do drop us a message and we'll put you in the chat as quickly as we can. And also, lastly, if you wish to be a guest on the show, do drop us a message on the social medias in order for you to become a guest on the show. So let's start off. There's only one comment. So Ian, if you'd like to just do the honours.
Yep, evening, guys. Ready for more weekly dose. Thanks for that, Marco. Oh, yeah, our friendly aviation shenanigans.
That's the line taken. I haven't actually said hello to you, Ian. You all right, mate?
Yeah, I'm all right, Stevie. Pal. How about you ignoring me?
That's right. I've always wondered if I poured a bit of beer on over here, with it would land on your head or not.
Steve, if we'd sorted something out before the show, we could have done that.
Yeah. Open your mouth, mate. Here it comes.
Yeah, that would have been class, that, wouldn't it?
Ian can have one in his other hand where it just pours it in. Like.
Yeah.
Here, Tom, let me spray a bit your way.
No, thank you.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Right, so we are debuting a new segment, which I'm going to point this out now, so that at least that way, a couple of announcements before we start the show. So a couple of announcements. We are debuting a new segment towards the end of the show. After last week's success, Jer gets his own segment, which will come at the end of the show. He will be here, I'm sure. So fingers crossed for that. And also, as well as obviously tonight's topic, which we are talking about, the crazy aviation world records, we're also doing a Q&A. So if any of you have any questions for us, quite literally about anything, we always say this, if it's literally about anything, do pop them into the chat, and we'll get them answered throughout the show. Right, so tonight we are talking about the crazy world records in aviation that we have found. Fair to say this was one of the more trickier topics to sort of have a look at. Both Steve and Ian. We'll go Steve first.
Hey, wow. I am a font of knowledge, as I'm sure you've all discovered by now. So first up, I'm going to have to look down at my pad, so you will see me looking down, because I'm not as professional as I come across, perhaps. So most passengers ever flown on a single aircraft was a special config LL B747, which started off with 1,086 people, and it was doing a rescue flight from Ethiopia and Israel, escaping civil war. But interestingly enough, when that flight landed, it actually had 1,088 passengers on board, because two of the ladies on the flight actually gave birth mid-flight. So although there is a degree of argument that some sources say it could have been 1,132, but officially it is down in the book as 1,088.
Crazy amount of people. A lot of articles and stuff on that particular record, which I think still stands now as like the most people carried, sort of in a passenger plane. Must have been hell of a squeeze, I would say. Yeah,
it's unfortunate. It wasn't anything more showy than obviously a rescue mission. I don't know what those C-17s would have had coming out of Afghanistan recently. I wouldn't like to know, but certainly in the record books, that's the one that appears as the record for the most amount of people ever carried on an airliner.
Ian, your sort of your thoughts on this?
Well, yeah, I was thinking more about the seating arrangement. I know. Was it an empty plane, and were they all like? I know when you go back to the C-17s in Afghanistan and what have you, everyone were pretty much sat in rows on the floor, weren't they? And they would have only flown it at such an altitude not to, what's the word I'm looking for? Interfere with air pressure and things like that. So I'm thinking, was it an LL747, for instance? What flew them there? Because if it was Ethiopia to Israel, surely it would have been one of the LL747s, and were the seats removed before they actually taken them, and who were put in first class?
Yeah. I don't suppose there was.
There you go. Marco Barrett says it was a cargo configurated 747.
Oh, right. That's fine.
There you go.
That answers it all.
Hence the amount of people that were chucked in because of the rescue missions.
Oh, yeah, no. I would say they would have crammed them in, wouldn't they? And if the seats were still in, and then they would have been underneath where baggage goes and things like that, wouldn't they? So, and I don't expect that would have been quite a comfortable flight, which, I mean, the flight wasn't for comfort anyway, but at least,
the payload must have been pretty hefty on that as well, to be fair.
I mean, 1,088 people, roughly at, I don't know, what are the average person? If it was 8 stone per person, a 12 stone, 10 stone, it's 100.
To be fair, Ian, I have bigger
10
dumps than
knots.
that. You might need to up it a little bit.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay, 10. Well, bearing in mind, a lot of them were women. So you're looking at
but-
men, women, and children, and 2 babies.
Yeah,
1,088 at 10 stone a piece. What's that? 10,800. So it's 10 tons, 11 tons, something like that. So yeah, it wouldn't have been that bad, would it? To be fair, I mean, they can carry heavier than that, can't they? The old
You'd be looking at
747.
like double the capacity of what a passenger 747 would have as well. So it's almost like packing sardines into a tin, isn't it?
Oh yeah. It's a well organised. I mean, we saw with the C-17s in Afghanistan. It's a well organised routine what they go through, isn't it? Where they're all sat in nice neat rows and things like that to make sure they're all crammed in. So yeah.
Well, I suppose the unfortunate thing is, on the circumstances, I don't suppose you would have given too much of a fig, would you? Just to get out of there. You don't care how comfortable it is, just to get.
That's right.
Get away.
Yeah, it was a means of getting out, weren't it? And that's it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And I mean, no disrespect to him, but when you look at some of these trains in India, for instance, being sat on floor of a 747 is a lot more comfortable than being sat on roof of a train, isn't it? Going through New Delhi.
It'd be interesting to see if OL got in any sort of not trouble as such, because they're obviously on an important mission, but whether an eyebrow was raised about packing them in, because there must have been safety issues around it. Like, you hit a decent pocket of turbulence or all that business, you're gonna create injuries, aren't you? Whether with the best will in the world.
Yeah, I think they would have planned the route accordingly, wouldn't they? And I'm sure that they might have even flown it lower, a lot lower, maybe. I don't know. I mean, you could say the same about the C-17 in Afghanistan, because none of them were strapped in either, were they? So,
no.
Like I say, it was humanitarian. I think I don't think the same rules apply, do they, with humanitarian lifts like that? So,
Just going to answer this quick question from Bradley Penny Aviation, who says, "Where is Joe? Joe is running slightly late. He will be with us." Also, Sam Danvers says Stephen's a bottle job.
Yeah. As soon as the going got tough, he buggered off to another team. So have a look in the mirror, chap. No, just quickly, actually, the top comment there from Marco. Can you send a photo to Tom on Twitter or something, and we can put that up? That'd be quite interesting.
Yeah, famous photo online somewhere of all the passengers crammed into the 747. And funny enough, he's actually just done that. Yeah, if you want to just talk amongst yourselves.
Yeah, absolutely. So you were telling me the other day, Ian, that a typhoon did the speed of sound over the Irish Sea, but you didn't hear it yourself.
Certainly did. No, I didn't hear it myself. No, I miss it. It's funny because I was actually watching. I was on the SB Exchange looking around, and a typhoon went up from Wharton, and then another typhoon came over from Conisbee, part of this training, whatever they were doing out there. They were doing some testing or something, and they both met up over Irish Sea. And one of them, for whatever reason, went through sound barrier, just part of the testing program what they were going through. Then they both landed down at Wharton there for debriefing, I would imagine, and a rollicking.
Yeah.
So,
There's your
I'll
photo.
tell you what, it looks more comfortable than I was expecting, that photo.
Yeah.
Because then they're all like crammed up together and not like equally spaced out as well.
Yeah. Yeah, it looks a little bit more civilized than I was sort of anticipating that, to be honest.
Yeah, it does do, doesn't it? Yeah, it does. Imagine hitting a pocket of turbulence and all the overhead luggage coming off.
Oof.
And poor little baby on the
whack-a-mole,
umbilical cord jumping up and down like a bungee rope.
Yeah. Yeah, poor little thing. Yeah.
Wonderful. Thank you, Marco, for that. Jump on to next one. Ian, I believe you have some interesting sort of facts and records.
Well, yeah. I mean, mine. I mean, I'll just quickly go through this one here. It's back in. I've lost it already. Absolutely hopeless.
You can do it, Ian.
Yeah, I've lost the date. Yeah, it was 1989. This one, so we're going back a few years now. But it was the record for the highest altitude by a non-engined aircraft, if you will, so a glider, and it was some it was some testing what Airbus were doing, and they called it the Airbus. I've lost it again. Yeah, the Airbus Perlin Mission 2, and it had set a new altitude record for a glider. The engineless Perlin 2 went up to 76,124 feet, collecting vital information on flight performance, weather, and the atmosphere, which is higher than what the U-2 flew for the US Air Force there. So, yeah.
What, Bono in the edge and that?
Yeah, they went up. Yeah, they had their own little. They had their own little U-2 Dragon Lady reconnaissance aircraft, which flew to 73,000 feet, 737 feet, and that was flown by a pilot called Jerry Hoyt on April the 17th, 1989. But this engineless plane was flown by a pilot called, two pilots, Jim Payne and Tim Gardner, and they went up to 76,124 feet. The U-2 is powered by engines that generate 17,000 pounds of thrust, compared to the Perlan 2, which is engineless and weighs just 1,500 pounds.
Which is not much, really.
No. What they had to do, they had to fly it in Argentina, and they flew it in Argentina just because of what they needed to actually gain that kind of altitude. So I don't know whether you've ever watched gliders take off, and I'm sure it was a bit more complex than this. But when I watch gliders take off from Jeffrey Hill, which is just down the road from me there's a tractor what pulls them for 200 yards, and they take off and they clip the rope, don't they? And off it pops and it spins around, does a few circuits and what have you, then comes back down again. Now, I'm sure this were a bit more complex. I'm not sure how it actually got off the ground, but it relied on stratospheric air currents formed by mountains and polar vortices as well. So it relied a lot on what the actual, thermals and things like that. So it relied on the winds coming in off the mountains to actually get this thing up to the altitude that it went up to. And I just think it's interesting that an engineless plane can actually get to those kind of heights, to be quite honest, and stay up in the air for as long as what it did do. And they kept flying it until they eventually beat this record by a good 3,000, about 2,800 feet or something like that. They beat the U-2 spy plane. Can you imagine just being sat in your U-2 spy plane, just bobbing along, minding your own business, and some dude in a glider's waving out of his window outside of you?
They're pretty fragile as well. I was going to say the pressure up there must have been unbelievable.
Yeah, well, I've got an actual picture of the glider in front of me now, and to look at it, I mean, the front end of it looks a little bit like, it reminds me a little bit of what Richard Branson's shuttle things look like. They know his little spaceships where he goes up into space in. But obviously, it's got the huge wingspan of a glider, and in all essence, it just looks like a glider, and that's exactly what it is. And then engineless aircraft. So yeah.
Why don't you share your screen?
Because it's on my iPad. I can send you a picture of it.
Send me a picture.
Right, give us a few seconds. I'll just screenshot it and give it a quick crop, and I'll send it across to you.
Yeah, that's fine. I was going to say it obviously wouldn't have been the band U2 because they obviously have a little bit of vertigo.
Nice.
Oh.
I know, right? Rob Brown, plane spotting is in the house. He says, "Evening, troops from a blowy north. Hello from a blowy south."
Yeah. A blowy north here as well.
And Martin Waldridge is here as well. He says Everest is about 24,000 feet-ish. So, that puts into perspective about that glider, obviously, hitting the heights of maybe 3 times that, which is quite phenomenal.
It's funny because he mentions Everest being 24,000 feet. Just a quick fact off the top of my head. All the champagne that's drunk, this is based on, what was it? No, it's based, this is a worldwide thing. All the champagne that's drunk, first class and business class, if you got all the bottles and stacked them all up one on top of each other, so they got to the height of Mount Everest, you'd have to create 124 separate piles or stacks of bottles, if you know what I mean.
So
Does that
stacks
make any
like
sense?
Big Macs and everything else now, isn't it?
Yeah. It's just
that from?
it's just something what I read today, and it's just obviously stuck in my head for some bizarre reason. Right, just Tom Whittle. Just
Magnificent.
fire this picture
Like I
across
said,
to you.
throughout this show, we are also handling a Q&A. So if you have any questions you'd like to ask us, it can be literally anything from the most simplest of things to the most non-aviation related questions. Get them in whilst we discuss some of the records. So it's you wouldn't have thought that a glider, unless they really done something with it, could actually go pretty much onto the edge of space.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Like I say, the pressure up there, like they must have reinforced it because they're pretty flimsy, aren't they? Obviously.
Yeah. Right, I've just sent you the picture now, Tom, if you want to have a look. I've sent it you on Facebook.
Oh, indeed. There she blows. Right. I'll just grab this one now.
I'm getting some background noise from you, Steve. Someone shouting in background.
Yeah, hang on, I'll go and sort it out.
Right.
All right, we'll leave Steve. We'll leave Steve for the time being. But the aircraft in question that Ian was talking about don't look too much different, really, than a standard glider.
I think it's obviously a difference at the front, though, 'cause it's more like a pod rather than a cockpit, isn't it? So obviously, I think it'd have to be like that just because of the air pressure and things like that up there, wouldn't it?
Completely reinforced.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, just be crushed,
Reinforced
wouldn't it?
cockpit sort of thing.
Yeah. But
Wonderful.
it's, like you say, it doesn't look any dissimilar to a normal glider, does it?
Not particularly. Not one that you see at your local airfield, anyway.
No, definitely not. No, it's funny as well because I haven't got the dimensions, but you can't really gauge the actual size of it, can you? Looking at that either, so which is a shame. I don't think I've got the dimensions of it.
Judging by it, it kind of looks very. Like I say, in terms of shape-wise, it does look quite similar to a standard glider. So, whether it is or not,
I will find out quickly. If I should have done my research, really, shouldn't I? That's what I should have done. Bus Perland.
So I think we got Steve back now. Yes, he is. There he is.
Sorry about
Welcome
that.
back,
She's had
Steve.
too many toys.
Wonderful. I'll just bring up some comments while we're here. Jack Roll says, "Good evening, guys." So hide your APUs. Jack Rolls is in the house.
Hey. I just quickly to interrupt. It was only 10.16 meters long, and it was 25.55 meters wingspan. So it's not a massive size at all, is it?
Standard size, then, by the sounds of it.
Yeah, it is pretty much a standard size, isn't it?
Wonderful. Marco Barrett with a wonderful little nugget of information here. He says, "Not sure if it was classed as a record, but in 1961 there was a DC-8 that broke the sound barrier at 573 knots, and it held that speed for 16 seconds."
Nice.
Which wouldn't surprise me at all, not with the turbofan engines that they have.
Yeah. Was that not the controlled dive or something? What it did was that
I think
one?
did we mention this last week?
I think we did, didn't we? Yeah.
Yeah, we mentioned it last week that it was a controlled dive, so it didn't really sort of count as much.
No,
Something
still.
along those lines, anyway. But
16
Jack
seconds.
Rolls. Yeah, it's longer than you, Steve.
Yeah.
But yes, Jack Roll says, "Got my beer. Let's make this a good night. As long as you don't touch any APUs, you'll be fine." Everyone's got beer, Coke, and I've got Coke. We're all good.
Cherry Coke.
Excellent. Right, Steve, over to you if you'd like to hit us with another record/fact.
Oh yeah, the longest ever flight in 1958. Bloke called Robert Trim and John Cook took off in a Houselander or something like that. Lander, that one. Lander, we'll go for that. Not land again for 3 months. A speeding truck provided fuel and provisions, and that record still stands to this day. And Ian will be able to tell you a little bit more about this one.
Yeah, it's funny, because I did actually read the same fact as you, Steve, and I was going to mention this one myself. They took off from the hacienda. That's the word you were looking for. From
That
the
one.
airport in Nevada. That's where they took off from. Yeah, it was a Cessna 172, weren't it? And they got the venerable 172, and I think that's a fantastic achievement, isn't it? I mean, what was it? 3 months.
3 months before they
64
re-landed.
days, 72 hours. Yeah. So
which makes you wonder how they showered and bathed and took a dump and all that kind of business. But it must have been pretty grim by the time they got off it.
Oh, I bet it was. Yeah, but it's
probably dumped into that poor bloke garden in Windsor.
Yeah,
and he's had it happen before.
And do you know what the purpose of it was? Why they did it?
Go on.
Absolutely none. We just fancied doing it as a little PR stunt. There was no actual reason behind it.
Brilliant.
We just fancied having a little,
why not?
little tour around for 12 weeks, yeah. While the truck carried on.
Jack Roll says, was that the Westland Lysander?
What's that? Garden, sorry.
We were trying to mention there, but I think we worked out as a Cessna, wasn't
it?
Yeah, the Cessna Venerable 172.
So no.
Yeah, no, it's not, Jack.
Martin Waldridge says, if a budget airline sees they can get 1,100 passengers on board, they might get ideas. Ryanair.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think they went down that road, didn't they, with trying to get people to stand up on the plane, didn't they? Some kind of... Yeah.
And if you gave birth, they'd probably charge you the ticket for your troubles as well.
Yeah. They probably would do, wouldn't they?
Isn't there a myth?
Luggage and everything else.
Is it fact or myth? If you have a baby on an aircraft, you get a ticket for life. I'm sure there's airlines that do that. There was
that's probably a myth. I may be wrong.
I think you get a dual nationality, don't you? Passport, and I think that's as good as it gets, isn't it?
Someone like Air Malta or someone along those lines, someone gave birth on it, and they honoured their child free flights for life or something as a little PR exercise. Someone in the comments would obviously tell us that.
I mean, it won't be Ryanair, would it? I mean, they couldn't even honour that poor woman who was their millionth passenger.
Oh, yeah.
Free flight. They won't even honour that, would they? So
right enough.
Yeah, yeah.
But yes. What else we got here? We have also got Tian Hartley, i.e. your daughter, saying, didn't know interesting airplane facts existed.
Well, every day's a school day.
It certainly is. She's also saying that the background reminds her of Countdown.
Do-do-do-do-doodle-doo. I don't know why.
No. Wonderful. Right, so who wants to go next?
I've got one for you. Now, this is quite an interesting one, this is about Finnair, this one. And what it was, I've lost the year when they did it, so I've not screenshotted that bit because I've just screenshotted this to read from. But earlier 1 year, Finnair and their recycling partner, a company called Kuusakoski, because it's Finnish, they dismantled and they recycled a 21-year-old Airbus A319. Now, the entire exercise was to see how much of this aircraft they could actually recycle, because I was interested in finding out how much recycled material a company like Boeing or Airbus use in the manufacturing of their aircraft, because aluminium fuselages and things like that, aluminium's not made anymore. It's all recycled. So I was just interested to find out how much, and I came across this. And so Finnair, they had an A319 and they recycled it. they managed to recycle they recycle between 90 and 95% of the aircraft.
Wow.
Which is an absolutely fantastic achievement.
Very good.
At the start, Finnair's maintenance team removed almost 2,000 parts and components. Some of them were used elsewhere in Finnair's narrow-bodied fleet. Some of them were sold to external vendors. 38.5% of the aircraft was reused, it says. I think that's the fuselage, to be quite honest. 38.8, yeah, I do apologise. 38.5% of the aircraft was the parts they reused and sold on. So that's what that was. The project was profitable just for the parts alone. It saved them an absolute fortune on buying spare parts. I'm just trying to. There was 49.1% of the aircraft was recycled. This is the one I was interested in. Yeah, the aluminium made from the bulk of the plane, amounting to approximately 15 tons, was actually sold to Mercedes-Benz, and Mercedes-Benz used it in manufacturing some of their automatic vehicles.
Oh wow!
So they recycled between 90 and 95% of an Airbus 319. I'd imagine the bits like the plastic around the wiring and things like that probably couldn't be recycled or whatever. And if you look at tires and things like that, so I imagine a little bit of it's not going to be able to be recycled. But I think that to be able to recycle 95% of anything is an absolutely fantastic achievement, and I think that more people should do it. To be honest, and you look at places like Kemble who scrap planes and stuff like that, and I suppose they recycle as much as they can as well, don't they?
They do, although you get into trouble if you call it a scrap airport. I've got told off for making a video and putting it down as a scrapyard, and one of the CEOs of the airport messaged me to say that's not what we are. So, they don't want to be seen as just a scrapyard. It's just more, so it's a small airport or airfield for people are flying out to. It just so happens that they store and break up aircraft. So
I assume these parts have to go under some sort of testing before they can be reused and that.
Oh, definitely, yeah. I mean, it's like that when you buy a part for a car. You buy when you buy a starter motor for your car or whatever, an alternator or whatever. You always either get a brand spanking new one from a dealership, or you can get a remanufactured one.
That's right.
I'm sure, Tom, you would have come across some of them, wouldn't you, in your time with remanufactured, and even brake linings and things like that for trucks, Tom. Like, they're always relined, aren't they? They're never brand spanking
brake
new.
shoes and stuff like
they're always just relined, aren't they? And we used to do. I used to work for a company years ago, and we used to do it with radiators and things like car radiators, and relining and repairing things rather than giving new stuff. We used to repair it, recycle it, and and then it was always tested and things like that, and the old components are replaced with new components inside it, and it's recycled and it goes on to live another day, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's quite amazing actually to know that, like, you see one of these like planes that are flying around, and then to scrap 95% of it is fantastic.
It's a fantastic achievement as well, and it's also very good to for the profits of the company as well, because if they can recycle their own planes and just use the parts themselves on their own fleet, and they're saving money that way, then in these times where money's really tight for some of these low cost carriers and things like that, it's fantastic. And I think that's one of the reasons why Ryanair have a 737 fleet and EasyJet have 319s and 320s, just because they can get their old planes and just recycle them back into the fleet, can't they?
Yeah, absolutely.
Save money that way.
Cost cutting, sign of the times.
Of course it is. Yeah, price of fuel and all that. Yeah.
It's only taken 35 minutes tonight. Perfect.
Hey.
Done well.
Done well, yeah.
Done well indeed. Right, Marco Barrett's throwing out another interesting one. Whether you guys have this or not, I don't know. But he says Air Transact Flight 261 still holds the world record for the longest unpowered glide by an airliner. It flew for over 20 minutes without power,
before crashing into a field and killing everyone horribly.
No, it didn't.
No.
No, it didn't. But then Rob Brown Planespotting then jumps in and says that the Air Transat A330 that did the glider, I should say, is still flying. And last year was flying to Lisbon. And last minute ATC changed to get 50 miles south, which, as it turned out, was fortunate. So, yeah, still flying the plane that did the. You obviously got plenty of airliner gliders, like the famous Gimli Glider, which is the Air Canada 767-200. If you haven't heard about that, just very quickly summing up that it's basically ran out of fuel, this 767-200, and then landed on an old airfield, which was then turned into a drag strip, which was in use at the time. So everyone had to scramble off and watch this 767 come into land.
Have I seen a video or something of that?
Possibly.
I've seen something about that. Yeah, it rings a bell. Yeah, it rings a bell when you say that. Yeah, it might have been in a crash investigation episode I was watching. Yeah, it rings a bell. That.
Question from Mr. APU himself. He says, "Have any of you guys seen the Wright brothers aircraft at Yeovilton? It was class to see it in the museum, and the fact from years back to now is just breathtaking." I'm gonna take it that Ian, you probably haven't gone down as far as Yeovilton Fleet Air Arm Museum.
No, I've not seen it. I have seen replicas of it, to be quite honest, and plenty of pictures of it. Yeah.
Steve,
and I'm that old now. I was winding the elastic bands up for it.
I was only at Yeovilton a few weeks back with my brother. I must have seen it. I can't knowingly think that was definitely it, but we looked at everything. So to answer your question, yes, I did, Jack, but I didn't. It didn't kind of register, but.
I didn't think it was actually in there. I didn't think they had there's a replica plane in there of something that's very similar to like one of the first planes, but I don't think it's the Wright brothers one there. And I've been in there about 4 times, so I don't think it is. I don't think it's the Wright brothers plane, but there's a plane in there that's very similar, but it's not a replica of that. I'm sure it's not, but it's in Hall 1 as soon as you go in there. But yes. Martin Baldridge says you get onboard midwife if you fly with Plus Centair.
No, that's shocking, isn't it?
Good to see you still got a few Christmas crackers left at Ray's house, anyhow.
Yeah, save them for the 50th. Pull them then. Sam Danvers still here. He says, which plane would you recommend the Verwood tour to be on?
Probably the A380. Started with a lot of promise, and now it's just sort of a bit pointless and nobody really wants it anymore.
Well, from what I've heard of Verwood Town this year, I'd just give them a Cessna 172 because you've only got 3 players left now, haven't you?
Yeah, well, Sam's too good for us, which is good of him.
Yeah.
Politics, here we go.
Yeah.
Jack Rolls says, as the song said, those magnificent men in their flying machines. It also sounds like wacky races. Rob Brown Planespotting then pointing out that Gimli Glider featured on Air Crash Investigation. Improper conversion of fuel weight to from pounds to kilograms. The pilot was ex-Canadian Air Force, so knew the layout of Gimli, which obviously is where it landed.
Yeah.
So very, very good. Well done, everybody. Everyone's doing well with their records here.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes, right. I'm going to take. Right, we'll take over with who just did that one anyway. Who did that one? Who we just speak to?
That was Ian.
All right, Steve, you're up next.
Set in 1967 by William Knight, the fastest ever Mach speed recorded in an X-15 was Mach 6.7. A B-52 took it 14,000 meters above the Earth before letting it go, and it set his afterburners off and shot off into the distance, setting that speed. And if you want to know roughly how fast 6.7 Mach is, or Mach 6.7, it's about the same speed it takes me to bottle talking to any bird online. That's how fast it is.
God, I was just looking at the background then, and I think that woman in corner with that disgusted, even she walked off.
Yeah, that was perfect timing, I
think. Yeah.
Oh, there she is again. She's back.
Yeah, to say that happened in 1967, it's a hell of an achievement that it's never been surpassed to this day.
No, I mean, I think they were trialing. I mean, you look at like turbofan jets and things like that with afterburners and what have you. But I know the SR-71 used them. They used ramjets, didn't they? Which ran differently, didn't they, to turbofan jets with afterburners. And I think that the ramjets could produce a lot more thrust. Now, I don't know whether what did you say it was?
An X-15.
X-15, yeah. I don't know whether that could be using a ramjet or what, but that's some speed that in it. And I wonder what the G's were like for the pilot.
Oh yeah, it would have been incredible. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I don't know what that is in exact miles or kilometers per hour, but yeah, Mach 6.7 was what it achieved.
Yeah,
pretty good.
Is it? I mean, Mach 1's what 760 or something, isn't it, mile an hour or something like that. So you're looking at 5,000 miles per hour or something like that.
Well, yeah, it's just a flying missile, isn't it? Essentially,
yeah, of course it is. Yeah.
That William Knight bloke to have the balls to go in there and go, yep, I'll have a crack at that. Like, fair play to him.
Yeah. It's not something you could even eject out of, is it? At that kind of speed, it just pull you in two, wouldn't it? If you tried to eject at that kind of speed, wouldn't it? Yeah, of course it would. Definitely. Yeah.
You'd eject over like America, and by the time you've parachuted down, you'll end up in Europe.
Yeah, probably would.
Pretty much.
Yeah, it's a fantastic thing, isn't it? It really, really is.
Yeah, but that is the X-15 there being launched from a B-52 bomber. Some interesting stuff here. Rob Brown plane spotting. It says, not a record as such, but Major Brian Shaw, LA speed check story in the SR-71 Blackbird is funny. Air Force guys smoked a Navy F-18. If you haven't seen that, because I've seen it, I think it's on YouTube. It's about 45 minutes long, I think. No, it's not 45 minutes long. It's about 10-minute video, something along those lines. And the guy is talking about a speed check. So, like, I won't ruin it for anybody, but it's a funny story. If you want a good funny story, check it out. It is good fun. But basically, the F-18 pilot was hearing all these Cessnas and Bonanza aircraft coming in for a speed check over ATC. And the F-18 pilot thought he'd be very cocky and get like 1,000 odd miles an hour sort of thing. And then the Brian Shaw, I think it was his co-pilot, piped up and said that they wanted to be checked as well. And they turned out you could hear the gasp over the ATC of the guy who went 3,242 miles an hour.
And that was the SR-71.
Silenced the F-18 and everyone else.
Yeah, but it did. Yeah.
If you haven't seen it, it's on YouTube. Check it out. It's a funny story.
It sounds really funny. That. Yeah, it sounds really good. That.
And then we have Jack Roll saying, "Loving the shirt, Ian."
Nice. It's my departure lounge shirt. It says departure lounge. Yeah, it's departure lounge.
It is a departure lounge.
Is that yours? Is it strictly speaking TN still?
It's strictly speaking teen shirt, but she never wears it, so it's mine.
Fair enough.
Yeah, the money came out of my wallet for it, so it's certainly mine.
Yeah, it's yours.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Marco Barrett coming in here with Rolls-Royce have just set a new world record for the fastest aircraft powered by an electric motor. With their new Spirit of Innovation aircraft, it achieved a speed of 345 miles an hour, which is 299 knots. With an electric motor.
Yeah.
Not bad. Sign of the times. It's the first time on the show I've actually used that, so hopefully I've done that justice.
Yeah. That's quite interesting, that, isn't it?
Yeah.
I've often wondered why. I was talking to somebody about this the other day about electric vehicles and things like that, and I'm sure aircraft are going to be the same as what cars are now. We all have. It's totally off topic, but we all have batteries in cars, don't we? What get recharged by the alternator. Why can't the batteries in an electric vehicle or in an electric plane have an alternator in it? What will recharge the batteries as you're using it, instead of having to plug it into a terminal? I've never quite understood that, but that's going totally off topic, and that's a story for another day. So,
you've done well.
Yeah. Right. Back on topic.
Absolutely. Yeah, Jack Roll says it's definitely a podcast, which of course it is. And Mark Jones says, "Good evening, everybody. I just got home and watching this amazing podcast on his big TV."
Excellent.
Which I think
how many inches?
Yeah, I
How
was
many
saying by
inches
this
is
week
it
it's
this
probably got to
weekend?
about 80 odd inches now.
79. It was 79 last week, weren't it?
85 now, something like that.
85. Yeah.
Wonderful. We are expecting Judd to join us at some stage.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll just put that out there. They'll be too disappointed if he doesn't. That's all I'll say. Anywho, right. So, Ian, I believe it's back to you.
Yeah, well, mine is for. I know Steve was on about the longest commercial flight earlier on by the Qantas. Did you mention the longest flight?
No, I didn't.
Oh,
I didn't. I mentioned the one that was up in the air for 3 months there, Ian.
Yeah, sorry, mate. Yeah. Well, that's. Well, you can use that one next then.
Yeah, lovely. Let me just write that down.
Yeah, well, this one's about the world's shortest commercial flight. And the world's shortest commercial flight is up in the Orkney Islands. It's in this country. Well, in this country, it's more Rob Brown's country. It's up in Scotland there. So it's a Logan Earth flight, and it operates daily services between two islands of Westray and Papa Westray. It's 2.7 kilometres, and it's flown by a Britain Norman, which is Logan Air Britain Norman BN2B-26 Islander, and it takes a whole of 53 seconds for the flight. I just spat them.
As soon as you're up, you come back down again.
Yeah. So that's quite an interesting one.
Again, there's probably a smutty response, but we'll avoid that. It's a family show.
Absolutely.
Like you, Steve.
Yeah, it'd be an interesting flight, that, and obviously those kind of communities, that is obviously their lifeblood of getting supplies over.
Absolutely.
Obviously, you can ferry it across, but it'll take a little bit longer. And I know there's a chap on YouTube I won't name did the flight and made a video of it, and that it looks quite an interesting little journey across and what have you. But yeah, it'd be interesting to have a little fly on that one, I would say.
It definitely could be one for the flight sim, that, couldn't it, to be quite honest?
Yeah.
All of 53 seconds.
Well, and a 747.
Yeah. Well, make that about, 10 seconds?
Oh, the Eurofighter.
Yeah, flipping it, yeah. I bet you could skim a stone across, couldn't you?
Skim a Eurofighter across, probably.
Yeah, definitely, yeah. Yeah, but it's quite an interesting one, that. 53 seconds for the shortest flight. I mean, the taxi in and the taxi out again is probably longer than the actual flight, isn't it?
I think so. Yeah. I
don't
know how it's priced or anything. If anyone knows.
I'm going to have a little Google on it now. See how much it costs you.
Yeah. Whilst we do that, Jack Rolls says it's not about the size; it's how it's used. I think that was in terms of the TV size.
Yeah. Well, if you're using it to watch a podcast, then it's money well spent, isn't it?
Absolutely.
I thought to more about the size of this aircraft used on this world's shortest flight. To be honest,
one way ticket cost you £17.
That's not too bad. How'd you get back?
17 quid.
It's not like Ryanair where they charge you like 90 quid for baggage, is it?
Yeah, probably. And you probably don't get an in-flight meal or nothing like that.
No, maybe just like a stick of Hubba Bubba or something.
Oh, yeah, amazing.
How many flights does it do daily then? Just that one, or does it do more than one?
It's like a ferry service, isn't it? So it's quite regular, I think. I think if Rob Brown is still watching, he'll probably be able to tell us. Mark Jones wondering which aviation blogger has flown the most. Guessing Sam Shui or I would say probably Sam Shui.
Yeah. He's done really well out of it, hasn't he, Sam Shui? Yeah.
And Rob Brown Planes Point says Barrett Airport is another interesting one. Logan Air flight, only airport to use a tidal beach as a runway. Which, of course, we know about because we use it on the flight sim trying to fly A320s, which did not work.
No,
there's like a little brew cabin at the end, isn't there, where you usually end up upside down on.
Yeah, there was a broom cabin at the end. Not anymore, there ain't.
No, not anymore. Not when we're on it, anyway.
Not on the flight sim, anyway. Right, Jack Rolls is asking you, Ian, if you could only use tap or go by bus anywhere in the world, what would you choose to do? I think I already know what your answer is going to be, but go for it anyway.
Yeah, get me a bus pass.
I actually want to fly with TAP this year, but I don't know if I will or not. I quite like to fly with them. Go out to
You
like
can't
Portugal.
see it if you're inside it, mind, Ian.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah, I know, but the seats will still be stained, won't they?
Safety cards, innit?
Safety
Yeah.
That's
cards.
what we'll just point it out.
Yeah.
You ask Ian for one, like, nick us a safety. Not that we nick them, sorry, we borrow them, we give them back.
Yeah.
Lend us a safety card. You'll be like, oh, I'm not touching that.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you'd have to disinfect it first before I went near it. Yeah.
That's it. Have you seen
Put a
what's on
plastic
it?
seat cover over it and blindfold me before I get. I'd be like Mr. T. I ain't getting on that plane. I'm some kind of crazy fool.
Fantastic. Yeah. Oh, have you seen what's on it? I'm not touching it until you've wiped it down with cloth.
Aye. No, TAP. I mean, no, I'm not even going to go there with him. Yeah. I put TAP in the same category as glacier cherries and orange peeling cakes. So
You know what it's like? It's like Room 101, isn't it? Have you ever seen the program Room 101?
Yeah.
We just moan about your topic. I think we should do that.
I think Room 101, yeah, I think that'd be pretty cool, to be honest.
A Room 101 style for our 50th show.
Very quickly,
Yeah,
one thing each for now. What would you stick in? You're allowed one thing.
I can't pick one thing. Don't do that to me.
Mayonnaise.
I would probably do like an entire show just based on my moans and groans in life.
Yeah, mayonnaise. That would be my number one thing, straight in there.
Yeah, I like mayonnaise.
Oh,
I think what we'd need to do is you'd have to try and put your argument across, and then just let the people in the chat decide whether it goes into.
I like that idea.
Room 101 or not. I think that's
our 50th show right there. We're not going to have a celebration. We're just going to moan.
Yeah.
I like that. We're going to do that. 2 weeks' time. That's what we're going to do.
Yeah. It's interactive.
If I was picking anything now, it'd be white van drivers.
you are one.
I'm not. I'm not a white van driver. I drive a small Berlingo type vehicle.
Well, in that case, bye everyone.
Nice
knowing you.
Like the plain white van drivers. I can't stand them.
I think I got stuck behind a bin wagon this morning. Now bin wagon is the bane of my life. Yeah, because if they were emptying a bin on an empty street with one car parked on it, they would double park where that car was and walk the bins to the bin wagon, because that's what they do. But
people who don't know how to indicate.
Yeah, I totally agree with that one.
People who pull out of the junction in front of you, make you slow down when there's a massive gap behind you, and then proceed to drive really slowly. You, my friends, deserve to go to hell.
Anyway, let's save it for 2 weeks' time.
Yeah, that's another topic for another day.
Yeah, otherwise, we'll be just doing this for the entire evening. Tian Hartley says, "Tap Air is class." Of course, she would.
She would say that.
To spite her father.
She would do, yeah.
Rob Brown Plane Spotting is correcting our sort of talk about the shortest flight, saying Papa Westray flight goes 2 to 3 times per day and covers a distance of 1.7 miles. Jack Rolls saying, I just want to say, Ian, Tom, Steve, you guys are the best. I want to thank you for the friendship we all have.
We know.
So, no worries. Friendship.
Can I just ask Rob Brown, why specifically Papa Westray to Westray has that got a flight? Why particularly between those two islands, and why won't a ferry do the same kind of job if it's only 1.7 miles?
Quicker travel?
I've no idea. I mean,
tides, winter seas, stuff like that, I suppose.
I have no idea. I mean, why specifically between these two islands? I mean, they're not the most densely populated islands on the planet either, so...
It's added connections, isn't it? But we'll see. Yeah. We'll see what the answer comes up with.
But
he has said, for the the moan and groan on the 50th show, a vote for sweet strawberry chutney.
Yeah, that'd definitely go in the pit. Yeah.
Also, we have Marco Barrett saying that the B-2 bomber sets the world record for the most expensive aircraft made. A price tag of $2.1 billion per aircraft.
Yeah. What a fantastic looking plane it is, though, isn't it?
Certainly is. And he's already answered your question, which is taking kids to school, mainly about 40 people on Papa Westray.
Oh, what a way to commute that is.
Yeah, so it's a school bus.
That's
pretty
quality.
much, yeah, that's what it sounds like. Yeah, it just makes me wonder why that specific area, obviously, they're taking kids to school and whatever, and that's fair enough, and why a ferry couldn't do it, or a small boat. I know they do it from Mount St. Michael down near. Is it Mount St. Michael down near Penzance? St. Michael's Mount.
Yeah.
I've watched programs on Cornwall, and they have like a little fishing boat, don't they? What ferries the kids across at high tide back to the mainland when they're going to school. Things obviously it's not 1.7 miles, is it? But it's the same kind of thing, isn't it? Yeah.
No, really isn't. Marco Barrett says hopefully going to see a B2 at Riyadh this year.
Oh, nice.
Which would be fantastic if you could. I may even get tickets to go myself this year.
Yeah, it'd be nice, wouldn't it?
It's on my list of places to go to. And Yeovilton as well is another one that I want to go to this year and actually do the arrivals day.
Yeah, that'd be sweet. Let me know because it's only up the road.
Yeah, quite like the idea of that. It's about an hour and a half away, I think, for me, but I'd happily do it 100%. Jack Roll says that one of my pet hates with drivers is not thanking when you let them go. I end up when they go passing, say thank you. Oh, okay, yeah. So saying thank you for them, basically.
Yeah, I usually just shout you're welcome to them when they don't
I shout something completely different.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I was just trying to keep it clean.
Yeah. Family-friendly entertainment brought to you by us three. Rob Brown Plains Point says, highly subsided by Scottish Government as part of connecting rural communities. Route will be making a loss otherwise.
Yeah, fair
Which
enough,
it would do, really.
Oh, God, yeah, without a shadow of a doubt, yeah.
Right, I'm trying to get back to who we were with then. Who are we? I believe
it's me because Ian just dropped the Papa Westray
chat. Right, go on then, Steve. Up to you.
Slowest jet craft ever made was the Polish P-71 M15, which was used as a crop duster and had a top speed of 200 kilometers per hour because it was severely restricted by the weight of the crop sort of sprayer Bowsers on the wings there. So, yeah, it was a bit of a slow horse, that one.
Convert that into miles an hour?
About 175.
So, yeah, it's not fast at all, is it, really?
Not really.
No.
But obviously, what it was designed to do was fairly slow passes on fields, doing a bit of crop spraying, as its title suggests. But yeah. So that's the slowest jet ever made.
Jet, and that was an actual jet.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, right. Sorry, I didn't realise you'd said jet.
Yeah. Slowest jet craft, Polish made.
Oh, jet craft, right? Okay.
Yeah, P7I M15.
I'll tell you what, Marco Barrett is on the ball here because he's just sent me a picture of said plane, which looks like if you took an Antonov AN2 out for a pub crawl and woke up with its sister, right? Woke up with its sister the next morning. This is what you get.
Oh, beautiful.
Although I do see a massive APU there, so I'm not entirely sure Jack's with us at the moment.
I mean, who threw that together?
Yeah, quite. No wonder it was slow.
When you sleep with the Antonov AN2 sister, you get that.
That's
rattle horse,
bizarre, isn't it? Yeah, it's a rattle thing, that, isn't it?
Imagine crop dusting in that.
Yeah.
Good Lord.
Yeah.
But thank you, Marco Barrett, for that.
Yeah.
We'll give him the role of picture contributor. There we go.
Yeah.
Absolutely, yeah. It's definitely a strange looking thing, that, isn't it?
There we go. So well done. Jack Rolls saying, you guys are a fan of the Airlogic.
Airlogic.
Yeah. Airlogic
Cargo Logic, innit?
Cargo Logic Air, yeah. wrong way round. That's what it is.
Yeah.
Cargo Logic Air 747. That's one I'm so desperate to see. I've seen it. It's a nice looking plane. It's a nice livery. I quite like it. East Midlands is the best place to see them.
Yeah, I have seen one go into Heathrow, but I'll be honest, it was the first trip to Heathrow after all this business, so it was kind of bittersweet. Whilst it was great to see a 747, that was the only 747 that day, and whereas pre all this business, you'd get 747s all day. So it was good to see it, but it was bittersweet, to be quite honest with you there, Jack.
Yeah, so it's one of those things where you sort of go, oh yeah, 747, and you go, oh actually I could see a lot more, but I'm not going to. And then
that was the disappointment.
Yeah, and then to top it off, he says, look what I created, lol, thanks to her sister's APU. Dirty boy. Yeah, dirty old man. Wonderful. Right, so I think someone's got a Qantas flight thingy here. Who's got that then?
That's Ian's, I reckon.
You got
I haven't got anything. I have no information on that.
Oh, fair enough.
Go on then. Steve, you're up again.
Fair enough. You can have a little guess here. The record for most times to take off and land in 1 hour was achieved by Marcus Furness at City Airport, Manchester, in a Team Eurostar EV97 in 2015. How many times did he manage it in an hour, landing and takeoffs?
Firstly, it's a fantastic looking light aircraft. I saw one when I went to the Bodmin Airfield. I forget what the Cornwall fly-in, I think it was. There was one there, and it was really, really nice. So I would go with in an hour takeoff and landing. So it's going to do a really short circuit, about 35.
Nice, Ian.
24.
Anyone in the chat? And then I will reveal the answer.
Yeah, in the chat. I'll go through some comments here. Rob Brown Plain Spotted says, seen a few Cargo Logic, cargo. I can't get my words out. Cargo Logic at Prestwick PPE flights. Pretty cool. Rob Brown Plain Spotted says 60, and Marco Barrett says 21.
Fair enough. The answer is this Marcus Furness managed to do this 36 times in the hour.
Oh,
you were 1 out, Tom.
I was 1 out. Oh, come on. Damn. But that's a lot though for like takeoffs and landings.
Yeah.
In an hour, because it doesn't. It's not quick to circuit the plane and then be able to get it back down again. So that's quite. Yeah, it's quite impressive actually to do that.
Yeah. But was he doing that to actually achieve the record?
I believe so, yeah.
Not for fun.
No. And then
no, not just because we could.
While we're on the records, in 2019, Daniel Moore broke the record for most airfield visited in 24 hours in a fixed-wing aircraft visited.
Oh, here we go. More airfields. God almighty.
Come to name them.
Yeah, if you wouldn't mind.
All right, so I'll go with. Most airfields are quite close to each other in a 24-hour period.
Yeah, fixed-wing aircraft. How many did he visit in 24? Like different ones, 24 hours.
Did he
and
stay
again,
in the
jump
country,
in the
or
chat.
Did he go further afield? That's what I'm trying to work out. I'll go 110.
Nice, Ian.
What country was it in?
America.
Damn,
Right, yeah.
I want to change my answer.
Yeah, I mean, 24 hours.
150.
I'd probably say about 60.
Yeah.
60.
Anyone else in the chat? Marco's come in with a guess.
Marco's put 92.
Right. I'll let you read some comments from a few people and then I'll reveal the answer.
Martin Waldridge says that plane looks like something you'd stick in the garden and use as a goal or throw rotten apples at. I think it's more likely the last, more likely the latter than the.
Oh yeah. To be fair, years ago, Bournemouth had a really rubbish player, and we actually named a tree in our garden after him because he moved as much. So it's always been known as the Derek Holmes tree because it was about as mobile.
I'd say Jack probably would use that plane as a goal, but for totally different reasons.
Yeah.
Any hole and all that.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Right.
just recap. What was your guesses, please, again, Tom?
Right. So mine is 150. Ian's was about 60, I think you put.
Yeah, about that, yeah.
Marco Barrett has put 92.
Oh, yeah. Well, one of us has been on Google, quite clearly.
Probably
I thought
Marco's.
that with Michael Barrett.
No, where am I pointing? Young Marco's been straight on Google.
Oh, so Marco was on Google.
Yeah, 92.
92.
But you get no prizes for cheating. I hope you're happy with yourself. You get nothing for it.
Cheaters never prosper.
Yeah. We know your game.
Disgusting. No, we read about it.
Oh, yeah, just casual.
We read about it the other day. Yeah, cheat.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course you did.
Yeah. Unbelievable. Scummery, I tell you now.
Unbelievable, honestly. But no, I mean, 92 airfields in 24 hours doesn't sound like a huge amount, but it's quite an achievement, actually, to, I mean, did it say anything about where they were or how far we travelled?
No, but talk amongst yourselves, and I will have a little Google.
Talk amongst yourselves. Wonderful.
I think Martin Waldridge has come in with a guess of 70, Steve.
Even though we've just read the answer out.
Yeah, just break him the bad news.
He's answering a question for something different, I'm sure.
Brilliant.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to find out if you had to refuel it, or if you had to stop for a toilet break, or stop for a cup of tea and something to eat. Perhaps I don't know. I suppose he could have all that stuff with him, couldn't he?
Yeah, he could have done. I mean, he could have easily had a break somewhere and just gone, we'll just chuck out as many airfields as possible and just stop off at one every now and again, sort of thing.
I don't think they'd allow you to fly for 24 hours solid anyway, would they? Just for the safety aspect of it.
It would have to be a licensed thing as well, especially if it was like a plane in the dark. You can't fly a Cessna 172 in the dark or anything like that. So it'd have to be a plane that's licensed, and he's had to have been licensed to fly after sunset as well. So
okay, so he did it in United States in Elizabethton. He did it on the 12th of September in 2019, and Daniel Moore attempted this record to honour those who had passed away in the 9/11 attacks in 2001. So that was his motivation behind it. But
nice one, yeah.
that is all the information I've got
good
on
him. Yeah, good on him.
Yeah, fantastic. It's an achievement, isn't it? But saying that, I mean, the airfields in America, there's so many so close together, isn't there?
Yeah, this one will be interesting. 1 second.
I will just quickly point out, Joe is very possibly inbound very shortly.
Right.
Okie dokie.
Yeah.
So just in time for the new segment.
13th of June, brother Michael Bartlett flew on the most commercial flights in 1 day. How many did he manage to fly on in 1 day?
Before you guess, here he is.
By the Lord, there's the noise of that fucking plane being a jazz.
Here he is. The man himself has arrived.
I have, Tom, yes, and sorry for being late, guys. I'm not long enough my train from Dublin.
Yeah, all you've missed, Joe, was us saying bye. So see you next week, everyone.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Wonderful. Joe, we'll just quickly ask you the question. Have you prepared yourself for your brand new segment tonight?
Oh, Tom, do you know something? I was having a good think about it when I was coming down on the train with my friend from Dublin, and I have the the perfect one, and
Fantastic.
It's
Oh, I can't wait.
it's
We'll
going
be
to be awesome.
debuting your new segment very, very shortly when we start to wrap everything up here.
Awesome.
But let's get some
Awesome.
comments done first. So Jack Roll says, hello, Joe.
Good evening, Jack. Good evening, Mark, and everybody.
Tian Hartley says, when's your guys' year anniversary? God. I think it's like March. It's like not far away.
Well, it'd be
at all.
episode 52, wouldn't it, strictly speaking? Because that'll be 52 weeks in the year.
Not necessarily because I've missed a few weeks.
Yeah.
So very good shout, actually. I am going to have a look. I'm quite curious.
Good man, Jack.
First episode, of course, was with Joe. It was streamed on the 28th of March. So there you go. So literally a month and a half away.
That's a good one now, Tom. Perfect that I was actually the first one, remember? Wow.
Yeah. So it's not far away at all. I can't believe it's going to be nearly a year. Jesus.
Yeah. Jesus.
Mark Jones says, yay, Jerlingus. And he also says this is the best aviation podcast ever. So I'll take that. So thank you.
Awesome. And hey, Tom, I just see Jack Rolls said, by the Lord Jesus, that cook or vin.
Cook oven. Nice. Cook oven.
Nice one. Cook oven.
Fantastic. Right, Steve, do you want to just recap as to what we're guessing, and we'll get Joe involved as well?
Okay. Record for most scheduled flights flown in 24 hours, and it was achieved by a bloke called brother, Michael Bartlett.
Commercial flights.
To be honest, just to help you out, he seemed to do a lot of them as helicopter flights between Nice and Monaco, rather than actual going to airport, sitting around for 2 hours for the transfer and all that business.
Right, that changes it up a bit.
Yeah.
I'll go with Nice and Monaco. That's not too far in a helicopter. I'll go with about 25. In how long? Sorry, 24 hours?
Yeah, in a day. Yeah, 24 hours when they were scheduled. They had to be scheduled.
Yeah, I'll double that to 50.
Okie dokie. Ian?
I'd say about a dozen. I can't see it being that many,
12.
to be honest. Yeah, I'll go for
Joe?
12, yeah.
I go for about 40.
40.
Nice. And Jack Rolls has gone 26, looking at the comments there.
Jack Rolls has gone 26.
I see that there, 26, yeah.
Okay, so he did this on the 13th of June, 1990. And the nearest person to it was Mr. Joe Lingus, 42 in total.
42 out. Oh, unlucky.
So 42.
Wow. So not I wasn't too far off. Ian, by the way, I meant to ask you, how are you doing?
I'm very well, thanks, Joe. Yeah.
Good man. And Tom, of course, you and yourself, Steve.
Wonderful.
Yeah, good mate, decent.
Yeah.
Good.
Fantastic. Right. We'll do a couple more here. So, Joe, you've just joined us right at the very end, but it's fine because we're going to do your segment very, very shortly, which we're looking forward to.
Oh, good.
I've got an interesting one here if you want me to do this one.
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah, mate, drop it, yeah.
Right. So this one is about a lady called Vesna Vulovic, and I'm presuming that's the correct pronunciation, and near as damn it. And it's the highest fall without a parachute. Now, it's a bit of a sad story, but you'll get it as I read it. So the story of Serbian flight attendant Vesna Vulovic is well known, and is also the grimmest aviation world record on this list by far. So in 1972, a bomb had exploded on Yugoslav Airlines Flight 367, and Vesna plunged down from the altitude of 10,160 meters, which is 33,330 feet, and she survived it.
Wow.
She was badly injured, obviously, but she did survive it, and obviously she did it without a parachute. It's a tragic story, but it's an absolute fantastic, and it's an impressive thing, isn't it?
Miracle, isn't it?
To survive it, 33,000 feet without a parachute and survive it.
That's amazing.
Do we know was it
really,
a
really
water landing or a land landing or what?
It doesn't say, Steve. No, it just says.
You'd still die from a water landing regardless.
Yeah, no,
Oh,
of course.
absolutely, yeah.
Oh, you would, yeah.
Yeah,
But
but
like,
the Guinness Book of Records recognised it as the highest fall without a parachute.
Wow.
Jeez.
So
I
that's
just read it
pretty-
here. She landed at a Bounty Castle convention. It was very convenient.
Steve,
Come on, Steve.
Oh my
Oh,
God.
Steve.
more apologies on the way. Yeah,
Oh,
this is
But
the
yeah,
one I
no,
was
the
talking
fact she
about
landed
earlier.
it, crikey.
Yeah, this is what I was talking about. I think we were talking about earlier, or we were talking about it yesterday, where I remember a lady falling from a great altitude sort of thing, but yeah, I've completely forgotten it was about 33,000 feet. Mental that.
Yeah.
but you know something, guys? Imagine like falling that distance without no parachute, and like just say like you actually hit water, you'd break every bone in your body because you'd be like a concrete block actually hitting the water at that speed.
Yeah,
Well, yeah,
I
let's
think
not go
you
too
can't
dark.
Very
but-
lucky, very very lucky indeed to survive that.
Yeah. Very-
Those poor souls again on 9/11. That was nowhere near that kind of drop. And
No,
what happened to
No.
them?
God knows what must have been going through her mind as well. Jeez.
Oh yeah,
makes
it
you
wouldn't.
think,
Yeah, it wouldn't have
no
been a
good.
matter of moments.
Yeah.
You can fall off a curb, can't you? And if you fall wrong, you're dead, aren't you?
Well,
Yeah.
You know, not to
Yeah.
be grim about it, but
Yeah. Welcome to the
No.
dark side of the podcast, everyone.
yeah.
Yeah, not quite 9 o'clock tonight, but welcome anyway. Question from Jack Rolls, who says Pizza Hut or Pizza Express pizzas?
Oh.
Very random, but we'll go for it. Steve.
Thing is, Pizza Hut, you get those little bacony bits in the salad bar beforehand, but Pizza Express is probably slightly better, so I will go for Pizza Express.
Ian.
Although
I'm
cheesy
100%
bite
behind.
pizza crust.
Hang on. Cheesy bites. Yeah, very good. Very good shout.
Yeah.
Ian.
Yeah, I'm 100% behind Steve there with Pizza Express.
Oh, it's a tough one. Joe?
Yeah, I go with Pizza Express. I think their pizzas are pretty nice, I have to say.
I will. Yeah, I like a good Pizza Express because I like the dough balls.
Yeah.
Oh
yeah.
yes,
The dough balls are fantastic. And the fact that you can buy them in the supermarket as well is even better.
yeah,
Oh,
proper shout.
That's good, yeah.
I think if it was supermarket pizzas, I'd have to choose Morrison's. The freshly made pizzas are absolutely fantastic. But I will say we have a pizza place just up road from us called Pizza Roma, and they will hands down are better pizzas than Domino's, Pizza Express, and any other pizza. Absolutely fantastic pizzas.
Yeah, we are
And
nearing
welcome
that
to the
time
show's
where we're
new
gonna-
sponsor.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Pizza Roma. Yeah. That's
Yeah.
Leyland Road, Gloucester, Cole, Preston. Yeah.
Next time you're
I
in
do
there,
it.
see if they want to sponsor us.
Yeah.
And they do a cracking kebab as well. That's where I get me lodged
Free
honours
kebabs
from.
for all.
Yeah,
You were
lodged honour kebab.
You were literally bitching for hours that they charged you 16 quid last week. You
No, that
changed
was a
it.
different one. No. That was a one called the Big Cod up in Longton. That's just a little village just up road from us. That was in there, and that was a mixed kebab meat and chips, and normal kebab meat and chips. 16 quid. I nearly fell through the floor. I said, "Are you sure?" He said, "Yeah." I said 16 quid. I went, 16 quid. I said, is that right? She went, yeah. She said, your mixed kebab one cost a tenner. But fair play to them. They actually skewered, rather than just being like crappy kebab meat, it was actually kebab meat, and it was skewered lamb, and it was skewered chicken as well. So it was a good effort. It really was. It wasn't 16 quid's worth, but it was all right. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. I'd say Lamb are a bit fatty for that kind of money.
We tell you what, it brings the northerner out of you as soon as anything's a little bit expensive, doesn't it?
I was just going to say that.
Yeah.
All right, 15 quid. I'm paying that for that muck.
Yeah. No, I'm not saying I'm tight, but I squeak when I walk.
Brilliant.
Tight as a duck's off. Anyway.
Rob Brown Plains Point says, I would have wanted the full lamb and chicken for 16 quid.
Oh, tell me about it, Rob. Flipping heck. Yeah.
Dear me. Marco Barrett's pointing out another record here. He says, in 2014, a chap named Alan Eustace set the world record for the highest ever skydive. He jumped from a height of 123,414 feet. His fall took just over 4 minutes. Is this I think this is the Red Bull one.
No, it was another guy after that. That
Oh,
yeah,
Red Bull one with the dude. Yeah, I gotcha. Yeah.
Wow.
Didn't his mask fog up and all that? He had some real issues, didn't he, coming down?
I think so.
I mean, falling from that fate, I think you would have issues, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
To be
Yeah.
honest.
Yeah. God.
Jack Roll says, I thought my wallet was tight. Jesus.
Yeah. But then again, and also, Jack, I wouldn't go and spend whatever you spend on a bloody cheesecake every Wednesday either.
Yeah,
Cheesecake
right
for
enough.
$6, is it? Yeah.
Oh, I didn't do the
Which
poll
might-
about what you should get next week.
Wish my mum still gave me pocket money. I tell you.
No, Steve, wow.
Well, Jack's mum does give me pocket money, to be fair.
Right. Should we steer away from that?
Steer
and just go
away.
back onto what we were talking about.
Steer away very quickly. Right. Somebody hit us with one more before we jump into our brand new segment.
Right. I've got another one here. Do you want me to read this one out? This is one if Marco's still listening. If Marco can whip us a picture up of this one, please. It's the Hughes H4 Hercules, which has got the largest wingspan. Now, the wingspan of the legendary Spruce Goose is almost 83 meters, which is over 320 feet.
Wow.
All made of laminated wood. This record stood for over 7 decades, only to be broken by Scaled Composites Strato Launch, which has now got the longest wingspan. That's one of the things that they fire those rockets off up into space with, isn't it? Whatever they use it for.
Yeah.
But obviously, that's got the use of some space age materials and incredible engineering ingenuity. It could also be said that within those 7 decades, there was no particular reason to build an aircraft with a largest wingspan, but still, it takes nothing away from the incredible achievement of Howard Hughes. So his Spruce Goose has an 83 meters wingspan. Now, I haven't actually seen a picture of this, so
this is massive. Like, if you've not seen what a picture of this, was it the Hughes H4?
Yeah.
It's like I'm fairly certain it's also the biggest amphibious, one of the biggest amphibious aircraft ever built. I'm fairly certain of it, but here it is.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I have seen a picture of that before, to be honest. Yeah.
8 engines.
Incredible,
8 engines. Yeah.
8 engines. Wow. Yeah, that is big.
Yeah. It's funny because Rob Brown just put a comment in about a C-130 Hurricane. You can see a C-130 in that, can't you?
You can, Ian. Yeah, definitely.
And he has asked if it's true or false that can a Hercules land on an aircraft carrier? I believe it can.
It takes a bit of pilotmanship though to be able to do it, don't it, Tom?
Oh my God, yeah. I mean, I would imagine the wingspan on an Hercules would have been too big for an aircraft carrier.
Depends on the size of the ship, I suppose. Ian,
I suppose it is. Yeah.
But look at this thing though, like 8 engines, and to see that on the water, I'd say it took that while to get the speed up to get off the water, and that it's so big. That have to
obviously it's got a lot more engines, but it's got the Sunderland vibe, isn't it?
Well, this is it too, Steve.
Sunderland. Yeah, nice little plane that as well, Steve. Good shout.
Yeah, God, wow, that's huge.
It's fantastic. Yeah.
Right. Here's the answer to your question. Can it do it? If I can get the right thing. I'm not going to play the sound purely for copyright reasons. But it can. It can be done.
Wow.
They're just going. I haven't seen this video, so I think they're just going through some of the other bits, and then you do see a Hercules land.
God, look at that, don't it?
On it.
Yeah.
F4 Phantoms. There we go. Right, here we go.
Yeah.
Oh, look. Wow.
Good God, yeah.
I couldn't believe it. Do it, to be honest, but there you go.
That is amazing, yeah. Wow.
That's proper pilot.
Obviously done a little bit slower, like slow motioned it, but
Wow.
Yeah.
That is awesome. Look at that.
there you go.
There you
Quite
are.
incredible, isn't it?
Wow.
Hi, Mary.
And then it can take off again.
And it can
Yeah, I was just going to ask, will it take off as well? Yeah, fantastic.
Wow.
Yes, it did.
That is awesome.
Yep,
So there you go.
unreal.
There's your answer to whether it can or not. It certainly can, and can get back up from there. Wicked. So, a couple more comments that we'll go through, and then it's the debut of the brand new segment, which I'm very much looking forward to. Marco Barrett says it can. The US Coast Guard did it, as we've just seen. Jack Rolls putting out that he would love to see the Avro Shackleton back in the air. Never going to happen.
No.
Also, the old Avro York. Never going to happen. But they're two wonderful looking planes. Mary Kelly, as Jer just pointed out, says hi, Jer.
Nice one, Mary.
Rob Ramplane pointing out that it's the USS Forrestal, I think.
Mm.
And Mark Jones pointing out that was so cool.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
Really
no,
was.
that
Really was.
you know something? That was actually great piloting. Like, you know, the way it came in.
Oh God, yeah.
And then just stopped all of a sudden, and then just take back. I never even knew, guys, that a Hercules could actually land on an aircraft carrier. But that was the proof. Now to show it.
Absolutely, yeah.
Absolutely
A
awesome.
phrase that Steve is unfamiliar with. They used every inch.
Yeah.
Every-
I know it too well, unfortunately.
I think though with a Hercules, just with the nature of the kind of aircraft it is, it could come in really slow as well. Anyway, couldn't it?
Yeah.
I'm sure it would have had an arrestor cable, wouldn't it?
Well, that last one did. I think they used it for that sort of purpose.
Yeah, fantastic.
Yeah.
Definitely. Right.
Now,
Chatting away. So before we get into going on about this new segment, here comes a little intro. So we're we did a little sort of jokey bit last week for Valentine's Day meals, which went down an absolute treat. And so this week, and we're going to bring it back for a weekly basis towards the end of the show for a little bit of lighthearted fun. We are going to debut a brand new segment. What's it called? Here it is.
May the Lord Jesus.
Dooley's Delights.
It is. I love that so much. I love that so much. Steve couldn't see it, but Steve's already seen it anyway.
What do you think of that, Ian? Isn't that
Oh,
awesome?
it's a cracker. That hat makes me laugh. Kiss me because I'm Irish.
Took me about an hour to put together yesterday because I was just trying to add things to it.
What
Anyway, it is of course, Dooley's Delights. This is the segment now that we're going to bring in weekly, where after last week's fun and shenanigans about Valentine's Day meals and the amount of fun that we had when Joe was reading out his 6 streaky bits of bacon that Steve absolutely loved.
It's my new alarm tone in the morning.
we thought we'd bring this back for a new weekly segment. So we're going to bring Joe in on the big screen. That's not Joe, that's me.
Good evening,
Right.
Good
Here
evening,
we
gentlemen.
go.
Good evening, gentlemen. Now, the most famous meal or recipe that I have on offer for tonight's show, folks, is lasagna bolognese. Oh yes, and we're going now, but it's no ordinary lasagna bolognese. There's going to be various different nice strong spices going to be added to it. There's going to be guacamole spices. Guacamole. Oh yes. And you know, guacamole spices would send shivers right up through your spine. Oh yes. And let there be spooks. Let there be spooks at the opposite side after you eat it. You'll be farting through your bum, left, right, center. Very well. I might as well tell you that. And add it to this meal as well, or recipe or whatever. Vinegar, spicy vinegar. To add that
Vinegar.
spicy vinegar. Yes, Ian. Yeah.
Uh,
But
Oh
Joe,
yeah.
how do you make a lasagna? What ingredients do you need?
Well, the first thing you need is you get your mince. you get your mince. If you want, you can actually add spaghetti sticks to it if you want.
spaghetti sticks to your mince. Is it Rob Brown's asking, Joe? Rob Brown's asking, can you use lamb mince? Or does it have to be beef mince in the lasagna?
No, Rob, if you want to use lamb mince, perfectly fine.
Look at Ainsley Harriet over here. So, Joe, in the most Joe way possible of shouting, give us a rundown of every single ingredient that you need.
Right now, as I say, guacamole and spices. It's a new one to my recipe. That I only thought of this actually coming down from Dublin on the train to see them with my best friend. So that's a very good combination. But what you need anyway is you need 8 ounces of lamb mince. The most spiciest guacamole spices you can get. Or bolognese sauce is actually another good one as well. Tomato bolognese sauce and a bit of nice pepper goes well with it as well. You can get the green pepper if you want. You can have the red pepper, or you can have the spiciest pepper that can be got in the vegetable shop if you want.
But if you use peppers, Joe, how much would you use?
I'd recommend use about maybe two to the maximum, but two the strongest ones you can get, and then there's another one. Now I'll have to think of that now for next week's recipe. But I'm going to be looking up some pretty good ones over the coming weeks. Now I'll have a few surprises in store.
I'm not a massive spice fan, Joe. So could I get a chili pepper? And just use a segment of it. Just use a quarter of it.
Yeah. Get a nice long stick type red chili pepper.
Right. Okay. Right.
Jerk, do you put the whole jar in of bolognese sauce, or would like 2/3 do?
Well, I normally put the whole jar in if I'm doing it.
All right.
But for those that don't, would you go for like a third or 2/3?
Go for 2/3, I'd reckon.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
Cheer everyone. My work is done. See you next week.
And that, my friends, was Dooley's Delights.
Woo! By the Lord Jesus!
Dooley's Delights.
Oh dear.
Fantastic. Do let us know if you like that, because that is so funny.
Oh,
Oh, dearie me.
oh wow.
Absolutely amazing. I love that segment so much.
Oh, that was brilliant. No.
Transatlantic Allison saying, can you use corn mince? I would recommend corn mince. Go straight into your bin. I swear, I once made a bolognese out of corn mince, and the more sauce you put in, it just soaks it all up, and it just looks like mush. and it's minging. Yeah.
So
So
I would maybe go against that and say that corn mince actually is quite nice in the lasagna. It's not the most preferred method, but it is quite nice. However, not for me.
Not for me. No, definitely not.
Hey, Tom.
I'd slap it off the table in disgust.
Tom, if you don't mind me asking, what is your actual favorite meal out there?
Well, my speciality is lasagna, so I'm going to try your guacamole and 2/3 of a pepper.
Nice one. I love it.
Rob Brown is asking, is using Dolmio cheating?
Nah, I wouldn't reckon so.
Yeah, it's not wrong with Dolmio. It's good.
Absolutely, yeah, definitely not. Mark Jones says, "Yeah, love the podcast so much." Jack Rolls says that was fucking brilliant. And then Mark Jones says, "Dooley's Doodles."
Oh, nice one.
For the art pieces next time.
Thanks, everyone, guys. I really appreciate that.
So funny. I'm so proud of that introduction, honestly.
It's funny that.
That is
So
absolutely
funny.
brilliant, Tom.
So funny.
Hey, lads. Hey, Ian and Steve, do you know something? Tom was telling me last night when we chatted, he was absolutely into tears laughing. Where's your Tom?
I was putting it together and I've watched it about 5 times this morning before actually using it.
Yeah, it's
so
nice
funny.
info.
Yeah, so funny.
Really
brilliant.
And plus, I thought I'd add the By the Lord Jazz bit in there as well. So
Yeah,
got to be done.
Yeah.
Got to be
Oh,
done.
definitely.
Anyway, that so we'll end the show. We're definitely keeping that segment in there, and we're going to get Jared to think of something next week.
Yes.
But this is the segment of the show now where we begin to wrap the show up, and we're going to do some shout outs to do that. So we'll start tonight with Jer because he was late. So Jer, if you'd like to do some shout outs, this is your moment.
Cheers, Tom. Thanks very much. Well, the first shout outs as always goes to yourself, Tom, the host, and to you, Steve, and to yourself, Ian. 3 amazing shout outs to you guys. And the next shout outs goes to all the gang on the chat, of course. Always think of them as well. And thanks everybody. I'm glad you enjoyed that segment of the show, which I was looking forward to doing this. Actually, I was hoping I wouldn't be late getting back, that I could get to do this. So I'm glad I did. And a shout out to my good friend Paul Kelly. I want to thank Paul for coming with me up to Dublin today on the train. It was an enjoyable journey, and thanks to Storm Dudley for making it an interesting journey, because it got very, very stormy, and it is still actually blowing the wind outside at the moment. And of course, just letting you know, guys, make sure you batten down the hatches. Storm Eunice is waiting in the wing now, packing winds of between 120 to 130 kilometers an hour. Now it depends on where she's going to hit, but she's definitely coming up to the south towards us. And a shout to all my Facebook friends who follow me on Facebook: Rebecca Follen, her Fenice, Mark Collins. A shout out to him, and a shout out to her family and to Paul's family as well, and to Mary Kelly. A big shout out to you, Mary, and your family also as well. So,
Fantastic.
and not forgetting our frontline workers. Always think of ye as well, doing a fantastic job keeping us all safe and everything like that, and keep up the good work to the law enforcers, our emergency services as well, and good job to each and every one of you, and to yourself, guys. You stay safe and look after yourselves as well.
Wonderful. Steve, we'll go with you.
Yeah, well, as always, to Tom, Ian, Jer for being part of this.
Thanks,
It's a privilege, and it's something I look forward to every week. Everyone again who's joined us in the chat, and we do really appreciate you coming on and interacting, and even those who are watching sort of in the background. Like, thank you for supporting us, and yeah, it's pretty much, it's short and sweet this week, and again, just thanks everyone for sort of supporting us on that.
Awesome, absolutely awesome.
Spot on. Spot on. Ian, because I know when you don't go first, we tend to forget about you. So if you'd like to go next.
Yeah, so just thanks to yourself, Tom, Jer, and Steve as well for being part of the podcast tonight. Fantastic recipe there, Jer. I will watch it back and I'll jot a few notes down. I'll make it for my tea tomorrow. So God only knows what it's going to look like, but I'll give it a go.
Hey, let me know, Ian. Make sure you let me know.
I'll send you a picture, Jer, but it won't be 2/3 of a picture. I know that.
Fantastic.
Yeah, thanks to everyone else who's been in chat as well tonight. And like Steve said, the people who don't comment and just watch in background as well, they're all supporting us. So thanks to everyone in chat tonight. Rob. And like Jer was saying as well, with this Storm Eunice, what's coming in on Friday is, I think, Jer, isn't it? And from all accounts, it's going to be an absolute stinker, isn't it? So just
actually, believe it or not, Ian, I think it's coming in sometime tomorrow, and it's the last into most of Friday, I think, as far as I know. Well, it's hitting us sometime anyway, after 1 o'clock, I think, tomorrow, and it's lasting through the night, I think, and then it's heading for yourselves then. So well, hopefully it won't cause much disruption now. And
that's it. Well, hopefully, fingers crossed. Just stay indoors, I think, if you have to, and stay safe.
Exactly.
Definitely.
How you said it, yeah.
Very, very good. Marco Barrett putting all round to Ian's place for dinner then.
Nice one, Marco.
Probably a good shout on that one.
Oh no, I don't want to be responsible for poisoning Lottie here.
Wonderful. Right, I'll do some shout outs myself and then we'll start to wrap everything up. So big thank you to Ian and Steve for their wonderful facts, and for Jer for being here, even though you were late. It's absolutely fine. So big shout out to you for coming.
Thanks, Tom.
This evening. A big shout out to everybody that's been watching as well, as we approach our anniversary of the 50th show. If you've missed it earlier, we're going to be celebrating it by moaning about a lot of things. So if you haven't seen the program Room 101, definitely do your homework for 2 weeks' time, because you pick a subject and you moan about it, and then we'll pass it over to the chat to see what they think about that. So that's going to be a lot of fun as well. And also party poppers will be involved, because I have ordered some. So it might just be me. I'll be the only one popping them probably. But yes, so big shout out to everybody that's been watching, as usual, contributing with likes and comments and everything else. Don't do that. So big thank you to those that have watched, and of course the lurkers in the background as well. Big shout out to you for that as well. Shout out to frontline workers and NHS workers, etc., and of course healthcare workers in whichever country you are watching from. Continue to stay safe, and of course with the storm coming as well, make sure you do stay safe with that as well. And then the final shout out, of course, is to special person in my life who I always have to do this for now. I love you very much, and you should know that.
Awesome.
Okay, right. Let's say our goodbyes. But before we do, I just want to bring up another comment from earlier. Transatlantic Alison. She'll be with us next week. She is our guest of honor for the podcast next week. Who is she? She's a pilot. And that's all I'm going to reveal to you right now. She's a pilot, and we're looking forward to having a good chat with her about her career. So we're looking forward to that very, very much, and that'll be next Wednesday. So let's say our goodbyes. So we'll start with Steve. If you'd like to say your goodbyes to everybody, and we'll get you off the screen.
Yep, I'll sign off like I do on my amazingly funny YouTube video. Cheerio, my lovelies. Have a great week.
And the funny thing is, you do actually do that.
Yeah.
Fantastic. I will just say before you do go, when you try and say it quick, it's hard to do it. Transatlantic Alison says, "Great show, guys."
Thanks
very much. Look forward to it next week.
Thumbs up to you there.
Yeah, looking forward to speaking to you next week. Right, so in that case, cheerio, Steve.
Cheerio.
Bye.
Ian, if you'd like to go next.
Yep. Just thanks everyone again for joining in tonight, and it's been a fantastic show. I think special shout out there to Jay for that recipe. It's really tickled me. That it really has. And well done for that graphic as well at the beginning, Tom. That were really funny.
Thank you very much. A lot of time went into that, and I very nearly didn't make a thumbnail for the show.
Yeah, that's fantastic. That's really, really funny.
Looking forward to next week's delights.
So stay safe, everybody, and we'll see you other side of Storm Eunice.
Take care, Ian.
Actually, I completely forgot, but I won't bring Steve back for this. It's my last show as a 29-year-old. I will point that out. So by next Wednesday, I will be in my 30s, and I'll be drinking myself into oblivion.
Ah, nice one.
Because apparently it all goes downhill from there. So
tell me about it.
Yeah. I can. Should I bring him on screen while he's doing that?
I don't know what he's doing.
No, he stopped it. No, I won't say what he's doing. Let's just call it a hand gesture. There he is.
All right.
Got him.
Oh,
wow. Fantastic. So if you want to say, you said your goodbyes, didn't you, Ian?
Yep. We're all done. Yep.
Right. Cool. Lovely. We will see you next week.
Yep. Bye.
Bye, Ian.
Nearly got you. Joe, if you want to say your goodbyes.
Yes, Tom, I certainly do. Goodbye to everybody on the chat, and looking forward to talking to yourself, Transatlantic Alison, next week. I can't wait to learn a lot about your career and everything like that. I'm big into aircraft myself. I love planes. I do. And to everybody on Facebook as well, look after yourselves and stay safe with Storm Eunice now. We'll all see each other when she's long past, please God. So goodbye, everyone. Tom, goodbye, my good friend, and I will talk to you shortly.
Cheerio. And I'm just going to quickly show some last comments that we have here with Jack Rolls saying very happy early birthdays. Thank you very much. Didn't mean to make you feel old, Alison. So sorry. And Rob Brown Plane Spotting says happy birthday when it comes. If anyone wants to know, it is on Sunday. So there you go. I expect lots of presents and cards. I'm only joking. Right. Thank you very much, everybody, for watching. You guys are what make this podcast what it is, and we try to provide as much entertainment for you in about 90 minutes or so. So hopefully you've enjoyed this evening. And we'll see you again next week, 7:30 p.m. when we've got Transatlantic Alison with us. So until then, stay safe in the storms, and have a fantastic rest of the week and a weekend of wonderful enjoyment. And we'll see you next Wednesday. Take care, everybody. See you then. Bye-bye.